I asked those of you who have already been to Iceland what was your biggest mistake when visiting the country, and boy did you make a lot of mistakes. I mean, getting attacked by a seal, how the hell do you manage that?
And number 10 was speeding. It's a strange misconception. I hear a lot from tourists that there is hardly any police in Iceland. This is perhaps true compared to most other countries, but we do have plenty of police who don't really have anything other to do than pull over speeding motorists. It's quite common to see them on the main road on the way from the airport to Reykjavik, for example, and the police in this area of the country is notorious for pulling over speeding motorists.
On top of that, our roads are, well, so I definitely recommend you turn on cruise control, set it to 90 on the highway and you stick to it. That's 90 kilometers per hour or 60 miles. You don't really need to worry about getting pulled over if you make this next mistake.
Mistake number 9 is not renting a car. You have more freedom when renting a car. You can go wherever you want.
Just make sure you know exactly where you want to go.
If you want to avoid mindless wandering, then tours offer experience and proven trips people actually want to make.
Guided tours obviously provide some expertise.
And make sure you get the right car for your trip. For the most part,
You don't really need a big 4x4 to get around. I mean, this carpet seems to get where it wants to go. Or you could just get a tin can like this.
unless you are planning some obscure off-road trip, you won't need a car if you make this next mistake, because you won't make it to Iceland. Number 8 was having a passport that is about to expire.
If you are traveling on a visa, then your passport cannot expire in the next 3 months. There's just some boring visa rule I won't get into. Just make sure that your passport doesn't expire in the next 3 months and you should be fine. But if you do make this mistake,
Then go to your local grocery store and buy yourself premium imported Icelandic water and think about the fact that it came from a tap in Iceland. If you had bought this in Iceland, it would have been a mistake. Number 7, which is buying water in Iceland.
220 kronas.
I know the water from the tap stinks the first time you smell it. That's just the hot water. Let the cold water run for a few minutes and then fill up a reusable bottle. Let's do a blind taste test and see if I can taste the difference between tap water and pristine mineral water filtered through lava rocks, as it says on the bottle.
This one tastes like pristine mineral water filtered through lava rocks. This one tastes like slightly colder, pristine mineral water filtered through lava rocks. It tastes exactly the same, except this one's slightly warmer. Is this from the tap?
Never mind, the moral of the story is the water tastes the same because it is the same. And don't worry, you will get used to the smell of the hot water, eventually. Speaking of smelly water, mistake number 6 was dipping your head into the Blue Lagoon.
But let me be frank here. Oh, hey Frank, I'm Carl. But your hair will turn weird after being in the Blue Lagoon just for a couple of days. This is apparently because of the silica. The trick is to put conditioner in your hair before you go into the lagoon and then again when you leave. I don't know if it works or not, I don't really care about my hair. But if that's your only problem when you're in Iceland, then I think you'll be fine. Whatever you do, just don't stay too long in that smelly pool of silica, because you have to go to your next destination. Mistake number 5 was not giving enough time to go between places. Well, the distances between places are quite vast. This seems to be more due to the fact there are so many unexpected places to stop and explore along the way. So make sure you pack some lunch for the road and give yourself much more time than you think you're gonna need. And perhaps don't plan too much for one day, because mistake number 4 was trying to do too much in one day. You may be tempted to try to ruin your hair in the Blue Lagoon, snorkeling and snowmobiling on the same day. But none of those things are anywhere close to one another. Just make sure you give yourself plenty of time to explore the unexpected places along the way. Perhaps just plan one major activity a day. Give yourself plenty of time to have an adventure from day 2, not day 1, because
Mistake number 3 was trying to do too much in day 1. Especially if you're traveling from the States, the flights usually arrive early in the morning in Iceland, which you might think is a full day of fun for you. But if you were back home, it would probably be about bedtime. So unless you are one of those annoying people who can just sleep through an entire flight no matter what time it is and land all refreshed and awesome, then plan to spend your first morning in Iceland sleeping.
it's not a bad idea to spend the night in Reykjavik. You can use the time between naps to shop for wool sweaters when you realize you packed all wrong, because mistake number 2 was not bringing the right clothing for the season.
Obviously, you should not be taking fashion advice from a man who wears green pants and pink socks. But what you wear should be practical first, fashionable second. Clothing is a really complicated subject, and what you wear depends on many factors, like what's the season?
And bear in mind, there's like 3 seasons in an hour. What do you plan to do while in Iceland? Are you going to be hiking? Are you going to be hiking on a mountain or on top of a glacier?
Key advice would be to not overdress. Yeah.
Because we are sweating a lot.
Oh yeah.
Or are you going to be doing some gentle hiking in the countryside?
And what type of person are you? Do you get cold easy? Or are you from Alaska or Canada? Then Iceland is probably going to be a tropical experience for you, so bring sunscreen. The best general tip for clothing is to bring layers. Make sure the clothing breathes.
And make sure the outermost layer is both wind and waterproof. I guarantee you, you won't regret it.
Look at your itinerary and make sure that you have the right clothing layer for each activity. If you are going on a scheduled tour, they may provide clothing for you. And if you don't have an itinerary, then I suggest you make one, because
The number one mistake tourists made while in Iceland was not having enough on their itinerary or not having any backup plans.
The weather in Iceland can change without notice.
Let's say you're on the Golden Circle and all of a sudden the weather turns nasty, then
you may want to pivot and check out some museums or lagoons along the way, like this one.
for some it's perfectly fine to just drive around and stop wherever they see other people stop, but you will definitely not get the most out of your trip this way. Make sure you check out any or all of the Facebook groups, Reddit, threads and YouTube channels so you don't miss out on a place like this. Make an itinerary is my point.
Create a Google My Maps, for example, and fill it with various activities, even if you know you won't be able to get them all done realistically.
This country never ceases to amaze me. This place is stunning.
Remember to give yourself plenty of time to travel between places, and if you need some itinerary ideas to get you started, then check out my 50 itinerary ideas video I made especially for you. I will also put links to all my favorite online groups and channels that you can use to research your trip to Iceland into the description. Make sure you share this video with all your travel buddies, and
Whatever you do, just make sure you have a great trip.